So again, we've been doing part of HBCU tour and listening to young Americans, not, listening to Black America, not only older people, like me and you, but the young folk. Someone would wonder why would you take the time to come to an event like this? What's so important about this event?
Well, it gives me a chance to talk to young people, particularly young people from HBCUs, about the issue of wealth generation, ownership, wealth maintenance, all the things that I found successful in my life is being an entrepreneur, being willing to take a risk, being willing to work hard, the work ethic of joining with other people to create opportunities. All of these things I think are important, and sometimes, far too often, it's missing as a message to young African Americans. So it gives me an opportunity to deliver that message.
If it were not, there are some people who say, HBCUs, I'm not sure if there's still a need for HBCUs at all in the country. And then a program like this may show them otherwise. Do you think you can get this at a university that's non-HBCU, or is this something you think that's specific to that?
Well, to the first question, there's definitely a need for HBCUs because there should be a college where everybody feels comfortable, where they can maximize their learning potential. And if a school that caters and focuses to the particular needs of African American students and African American families, many who are first generation college students, and those schools should be supported and those schools should thrive. And yet at the same time, they should provide some of the highest levels of education and instruction. And so by layering onto that a entrepreneurs program that's supported and stimulated by major corporations and having access to speakers from businesses around the country, black and white, I think just makes therefore a good mix of a right kind of academic environment for the student, exposure to a big world kind of picture of opportunity.
Do you think they would get this same sort of program, this entrepreneurship program, at a university that's not HBCU or a college that's not HBCU?
Sure. I mean, there are great schools all around the country that a student can go to, whether it's a Harvard Business School or Stanford or Wharton. Sure, there are other schools, but the question is this school the right school for the student? Where's learning going to be maximized? And if you can learn better at Harvard, go to Harvard. If you can learn better at Fayetteville State, go to Fayetteville State.
When you talk to these students, is it all about business, or do you talk to them about social skills, politics, whatever it's all about?
Business is sort of a foundation for a lot of things, but mainly I talk about business, particularly from my particular perch, the way I see it, the way I approach opportunities, the way I look at how I've been fairly successful in doing what I do. But clearly everything is sort of a part of a business decision. You can't be in business in this country without recognizing there's politics as a part of business, there's government regulation, there's government laws, there's tax implications, all of these things. And you can't deal with it without recognizing how business fits in this community and its responsibilities to that community.
There are people who say, I owe my success to this person, gave me great advice. They may say the same thing about I owe my success to Mr. Johnson or Oprah or someone. What do you have anyone in your life like that?
Well, if I were to look back and say who sort of helped me become the most successful, helped me the most, it would be a guy named John Malone, white owner of a company called TCI. It's now a company called Liberty Media. In fact, John also helped Ted Turner become successful. But John Malone was someone who supported me when I was starting BET back in 1980, put the first $500,000 into BET. As he was a cable operator, gave me access to his cable subscribers, and basically was an advisor to me, mentor, and personal friend for over 20 years. And because he's recognized as one of the smartest guys in the media business or in the business world altogether, I had access to him, and that access was worth its weight in gold. And he promoted me to other businessmen, so that when I went to talk to somebody else, I'd get that expression. They'd say, "Who's in your business deal?" And I'd say, "John Malone." It was like a good housekeeping seal. And that was invaluable. We couldn't put a dollar on that.
He gave you a chance.
Gave me more than a chance, gave me a chance, but also gave me his continual support and advice.
Okay, you mentioned BET. You hadn't been there for a while. Are you happy with the way BET is now, the programming, all of that?
I think BET is great. It's a great brand. It'll be around forever. When I left it in very good hands. The now CEO, Deborah Lee, has been at BET for over 20 years because she started when I started. And she's an excellent CEO and a great visionary, and have taken the program in a direction that she thinks is in the best interest of the audience and and the advertisers.
What about people who criticize it and say that, you know, it's not the program, you know, the hip hop or whatever, they should be more educational, they shouldn't be showing all this nudity, playing all this, you know, the violent lyrics and the cuss words and what have you, and there should be more responsibility when it comes to
Well, I think those people haven't looked at BET in the past 3 to 4 years. If you look at BET, Deborah's brought in a great deal of original programming, more focus on public affairs kind of discussions, and more emphasis on things related to the community. BET is a great outlet for information of all types. Sure, it has music on it, but I think that criticism is something when I was there we dealt with all the time, mostly because BET is the only one in town. There are 5 news channels, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. There's one BET. And because it can't be everything to everybody, it gets sort of bumped around by not serving any particular constituency to the level that they would like. But I think to be fair to BET and to be fair to what Deborah's doing, I tell people to tune in and then make a judgment.
You think the programming is responsible?
I think the program is very responsible to the audience. BET has decided it's going to serve a target segment of the African American community, mainly young people, and it does that extremely well. But it does it in a broad fashion, and you will see BET programming that deals with, for example, that whole issue of hip hop. There was a forum that they had where they had people, both artists and critics, coming together to talk about the impact of hip hop. BET, when I was there, had a fundraiser for Katrina, raised over $10 million. Much of that money came from artists in the hip hop community. And so there are a lot of things that BET does that don't get the recognition simply because it can't be everything to everybody.
But do you think there are some things that they can do more responsibly with the nudity and the language? I mean, honestly.
Well, but you know, to be honest, there's no nudity on BET. I mean, they do videos that show people dancing.
Pretty risque.
I wouldn't call it risque at all. I would call it the music that that young people are looking at, the style that young people are dressing at. I would say unequivocally there is no nudity on BET. It's in high energy entertainment, and it's exciting entertainment, but it's the kind of programming that appeals to the target market. It's no different from, you know, the kind of stuff that you see on VH1 or MTV, Comedy Central. I think to try to put a cocoon and say you can't show that programming on BET because it's a targeted African American audiences is a version of censorship that shouldn't exist anywhere in the media world. And I think whether it's censorship of news or censorship of content, you can't do that. BET handles its content extremely responsibly.
It's an unfair, you think, responsibility to put onto BET.
Well, some of the accusations are just plain wrong. So you deal with those things that are wrong and say BET shouldn't carry that burden of something that's absolutely wrong, like the question of nudity or salacious programming. That's just wrong. But on the other part of it, trying to serve, 30 million African Americans, one African American channel. There's another called TV One, but it doesn't have the impact and brand and reach of BET. But to say that BET has the sole responsibility to serve the education community, the religious community, the business community, the political community, and do it all on one channel is not something that you could do from a business standpoint. Because as a business person, you find your market, and if BET's found its market to be young people 12 to 35, or people between that age, that's the market they should serve.
Okay, I'm going to let you go, but I can't let you get out of here, you know this, without asking you about the current political climate.